Hey guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome back to Upside Down Books. Today we are doing my biggest book haul of all time.
Non più tra I farfalloni amoroso, notte giorno di
So May was my birthday month, and as usual that means, like, I'm literally, if you can tell, there is shadow on this side of my face because the tower of books sitting next to me is currently blocking my light. So I have the Great Wall of Books to deconstruct and show you today. So we're gonna make this quick and snappy, and I'm just gonna talk about a couple of books, but let me explain. So it was my birthday in May, and I usually get books from friends and family as a gift. No surprises there, seeing as how much I love reading or collecting books, depending on which way you want to view that. But I did a thing, and I bought myself some presents as well, and I was rather effective at doing that because I discovered, much to my bank account's detriment, this independent bookstore thing, bargain place called The Book Grocer. And they do bargain boxes. And they have quite a few books in these boxes for a very discounted price. And I thought that would be so much fun to open on my birthday, and it was, and spectacularly, miraculously so. I only had 2 double ups out of like about 40 to 50 new books I got. I have 55 books to show you today. That is the number we are looking at. That is the horrific number of books that I have added to my TBR in May, and I just embraced it. Towards the end of the month, I embraced the fact that I was out of control and very happy about it. So some of the books you've probably never heard of. They're going to be a little bit more on the abstract side of things, but I'm really excited about them, and I'm excited to read them and try them. There's a few real bargains that I got of books that I really wanted to get, but we're going to save the bargain books till the end, and I'm literally just going to list them as to what I got so that this doesn't turn into an hour-long video. So let's start with the audiobook that I got in May. So in May, I actually decided to go on a classic route, but a sci-fi classic route, and I got myself The Lord of the Rings. I'm pretty sure it's just book 1. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's just book 1, judging by the length of it. So I've never read Lord of the Rings, and I'm really curious to read the audiobook version. I'm just not game or brave enough to try the actual physical version because I know it's such a dense book to get through, and I just don't think I have it in me. So I'm going to be trying the audiobook version of Lord of the Rings, and I'm very excited about it. So let's move on to some of the other books. I think this is the pile I want. So first up, I've got Night of the Dragon by Julie Kagawa. So this is book number 3 in the Shadow of the Fox series. I actually picked this up at a secondhand bookstore because I don't know why. I really shouldn't have gone into a secondhand bookstore with the number of books I had bought, but I was hoping to get a couple of books that were number 1 in the series of some books I got in the bargain boxes. Unfortunately, they managed to throw in a couple of book 2s, which wasn't super helpful, but I didn't find any, but I did find this, so I gave it to myself as a consolation prize for not finding any of the other books that I actually wanted to get. I have read book 1 in this series and I've been meaning to continue it, so I was thrilled to see this in a secondhand bookstore for a cheap price, so I picked it up. I then got a review copy to show you, and that is The City of Zerdai. This actually came out at the beginning of June. So this is out in stores now. This is book 2 in the Eyes of Tambura series, and I've been really wanting to pick it up. I've had an arc of this for like a year because I had a digital galley sent to me last year when the original release date was, I think I'm gonna have to move these, hang on. Because the original release date was in like June last year, but because of COVID they pushed it back a whole year, and I really enjoyed it. It's about an underground city, and there's like a really great hottie in this one, so would recommend picking it up for some nice low-key smut in this book. But yes, so this is out on shelves now, and I'm hopeful that I will get around to it relatively soon, but who knows? Oh, and this was sent to me by Harlequin Teen, so thank you very much for this copy. The next book I have to show you is one of the last pre-orders that have come in that big pre-order purchase that I'm sure I've mentioned that I did at the beginning of the year. I actually had really wanted to do another pre-order order for the second half of the year and going into the first half of next year, but I just feel like I've got so many books at the moment, I'm gonna hold off on that and maybe just do it in December. That's irrelevant. So that next book is Son of the Storm by Suyi Davis Okungabora. I hope I said that right. It's something along those lines. I do apologize. I'm very excited for this, and this is on my June TBR, which you've probably already seen. This is a really awesome fantasy, which I believe is inspired by the pre-colonial West African empires, something along those lines, and I just think this sounds magnificent, so I'm really excited to pick this one up. The next one is an ARC / pre-order. I requested an ARC having forgotten that I'd already ordered a copy. Classic bookworm move. And that is The Ones I'm Meant to Find by Joan He. This is also the Dimmicks Book Club book of the month, and I like to participate in their book club, so I'm really excited to get around to this one in June. It's also on my TBR. This is like an epic, twisty, turny, highly acclaimed new fantasy novel with so many good reviews out there, so I am so keen to get into this one and see what all the fuss is about. And the last book that is outside of my birthday haul that I have to show you is an ARC, and this is not out until around July 7th, I do believe, and it's The Good Wives of Bath by Karen Brooks, and it has got all this gold foil. It is so pretty. This is a really beautiful proof that I've been sent. It's got a letter from the author at the very beginning, and it's just a stunning, stunning edition. So I'm pretty sure this is a satirical take on a classic whose name I can never remember. It's something like The Good Wife. I'm sure if you look it up, you'll be able to find it, but I'm really excited to read this one, and I am really hoping that I manage to get around to it before its release date. But yeah, absolutely in love with the cover for this. So let's move on to the books I was gifted by friends and family for my birthday, and then we will get on to the bargain box stuff. So the first book I have to show you is The Blade Itself by Jo Abercrombie. This I have recently added to my list of things I really want to read, so I was really excited to get this one from my sister, and it is a fantasy. I believe it is an epic fantasy. We've got an infamous barbarian in it, and I think there's going to be, it's kind of giving me the Lies of Locke Lamora vibes, so I'm really hoping this will be good. I'm pretty sure it will, because it's sort of lumped into categories with Aragon and Game of Thrones. It's just this classic, amazing fantasy novel to read, so definitely have high expectations for this. The next one is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. This has got some really good reviews. It's quite a creepy cover. I won't hold it up any longer in case you don't want to see that, but this is a thriller. Now, I think it is a thriller bordering on horror as well. It kind of looks like it, and I'm quite interested to read it. I don't read a lot of horror, but I will read a thriller, and I've heard some seriously good and raving reviews about this, so I'm hoping that I really enjoy it as much as everyone else seems to be. So check this one out if you're interested to know more about the plot. The next book I have to show you, I really like the cover, and it is Wings of Fury by Emily R. King, and I haven't heard anyone else talking about this very much, but I think this is a new release this year, and I am really, really hoping that I love this one. So this is actually a mythology retelling, and I'm an absolute sucker for mythology. So make sure you go and have a look at the blurb if you want to find out what kind of spin this retelling is taking on the classic Greek mythology origin stories. I then have a sequel which was gifted to me by my friend, and that is the sequel to Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, which is Starsight. I have just finished reading book 1, and I am so excited to continue this series. This is a beautiful, epic, amazing sci-fi story where people are living underground, and there's like an invasion and a war and all sorts going on, and people flying, and it's like all these space fights, and then there's a sassy sentient spaceship, which is hilarious and brilliant. So if you haven't picked up this series yet, then I really recommend you do, because it's super funny and it's super addictive to read. It's so hard to put down. The next one is Victory is Greater Than Death by Charlie Jane Anders, and I really like the finish on this one. The yellow spine and the really chaotic and busy front cover. So I think this sci-fi is about a clone, and the main character is this clone of a famed alien hero, and they are on Earth. It sounds like it's going to be a good action adventure when this clone is called upon to go out and save the universe, so I'm really excited to see what adventures are held within its pages. There's so many books. There's so many. So the next one is Malice by Heather Walter, and this one is, I'm pretty sure it's a Sleeping Beauty retelling. Yes, it is. We got Princess Aurora, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be from the perspective of the character that is inspired by Maleficent. So Maleficent, I'm never sure anymore how you pronounce that. This is such a decent size, and I haven't read like a Disney retelling forever. Like Beauty and the Beast is like the main one that gets done, so I'm really excited about this one. I love the cover. I actually haven't heard too much about this one yet, so I'm not really sure what to expect, but I'm hoping for great things. Then we have The Music of Bees by Eileen Garvin, and I think this sounds really quaint and cute. I just really like the sound of this one. I think the cover is really beautiful, so I was super excited that somebody had chosen this one to give to me for my birthday. This has a really interesting premise. So we've got a main character whose husband has suddenly died and she's a beekeeper. And then we have this other character who is in a wheelchair, and it says she crashes into him in her truck, which is full of bees. And I'm not quite sure what happens, because it kind of sounds really bad if you're crashing into someone in a wheelchair in a truck. But anyway, we'll have faith, we'll trust that the story works. And I think they start working together, and the guy in the wheelchair can actually hear music in the humming of the bees. So I'm really curious where this one's going to take it. I think it could be quite a sweet story. Oh, was that a pun? So the next book is a big chunky boy, and that is Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. Very excited about this. I am currently trying to finish or make progress with Victoria Aveyard's like major first series. I don't know if it was her debut, but the Red Queen series. And I am so excited to pick this up. This is huge. This is a really chunky book, and I managed to get a signed edition of this one. So I was sent a gift voucher from my uncle, and I went to the bookstore to spend it, and I was thrilled that they had some signed copies of this. It's super, super exciting. So lots of good things I've heard about this. It looks like it can't be anything but amazing. And finally, I have Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Very excited to read this because Andy Weir wrote The Martian, which got made into a film with Matt Damon, everybody's favorite. And that was so good. That was such a funny and entertaining story. This is a lot bigger and chunkier than The Martian. I haven't read Artemis, which is the book he read in between, but I'm so excited for this one. I have very high expectations, so I'm really hoping I'm not going in with too high expectations for this. But I feel like I can trust Andy Weir to write an epic space story. So this is the main part of my book haul for things that were gifted to me for my birthday and things I have acquired myself. And the rest of the books are all books that I got in this bargain box, and of equivalent of about $2 a copy, if that. They were so cheap in the bundle they came in. So let's do a quick run through of everything I've got. First up, we have Imprudence by Gail Carriger, and this one looks like it's going to be a steampunk. It is number 2 in a series, so one I need to get the first one for. Falling Sky by Ryan Khanna, might be pronouncing that one wrong. All the Ways the World Can End by Abby Sher. The Curses by Law Eve, this is book 2 in a series as well. The Island by M.A. Bennett. My Side of the Diamond by Sally Gardner. Like Other Girls by Claire Hennessy. 36 Questions That Changed My Mind About You by Vicky Grant. Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. This was one of the double ups I had. Hollow World by Michael J. Sullivan. The Last Man Standing by David Longo. Books 1 and 2 in the Indranan War, so we have Beneath the Throne and After the Crown by K.B. Wages. The Lost Time Accidents by John Ray. Long Dark Dust by J.P. Smythe. This is book 2 in a series. The City of Sand by this lovely author. I'm not going to try and butcher that. I'm just not. The Sacred Lives of Minnow Bly by Stephanie Oakes. Blood Will Out by Joe Someone. I can't read this font. Scream All Night by Derek Millman. And Then There Were Four by Nancy Werlin. The Brink of Darkness by Jeff Giles. I'm pretty sure this is book 2 in a series, but look, it has pretty printing on the edges. Books 2 and 3 in the Detainee Files, so I need book 1 in this one. So we have Into the Fire and In Constant Fear by Peter Liney. The Boy on the Bridge by M.R. Carey. I think this is a follow-up to The Girl with All the Gifts, but I'm not 100% sure. Dark Soul by Anna Stevens. This is book 2 in a series. Soul Survivors by Naomi Foyle. Forsaken Skies by D. Nolan Clark. Books 1 and 3 in the Faithful and the Fallen series, so that's Malice and Ruin by John Gwynne. The Spider's War by Daniel Abraham. This is actually book 5 in the Dagger and the Coin series, so I've got a lot of reading to do for this one. The Summon Stone by Ian Irvine. The Ripper Affair by Lilith St. Croix, and this is book 3 in the Bannon and Claire trilogy or series. Defy the Worlds by Claudia Gray, who's a fantastic author. This is book 2 in this series. Sunflowers in February by Phillida Shrimpton. Close Your Eyes by Nikki Cloak. The Court of Broken Knives by Anna Smith Spart. Resistance by Samit Basu. Edgeland by Jake Halpine and Peter Kujawinski. The Chaos of Luck by Catherine Seveni. This is book 2 in this series. And Defenders by Will McIntosh. That brings us to the end of the book haul. So there are so many books. It sounded like so many of those were sequels. I think it turns out, or comes to about 9 books out of all of them. I don't have book 1 for, but I am already on the hunt to try and amend that. But yeah. Those are all the books I have here for me. I'm not even going to try and pick them up because somebody's going to die if I do that. So let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these, particularly those bargain ones. I'd be so interested to know because I've not heard about most of them and which one you think sounds most exciting. But other than that, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.
Alla gloria militar